afternoon from the Student Ministries of Grace United Methodist Church. I hope that this video finds you safe, good, healthy, and I also hope that it finds you with a little bit of time to watch this all the way to the end. My goal is to keep this short, sweet, simple, and hopefully refreshing for you. So let's dive in. We have been doing some devotions based on medications. The first one was my idea, and then you guys were like, let's just keep doing medications. So I said, okay. We did one on Benadryl, we did one on Neosporin, and so now the medication of the day is, dun dun dun, Icy Hot. Oh yes, that is no medication to fool with. I'm telling you, back when I was conditioning for basketball, when I was in high school, my muscles hurt like they've never hurt before. And Icy Hot is beautiful. You put it on, it has that cool sensation, it makes you comfortable, makes you feel good. And right as you get comfortable, the burn starts. Oh my goodness. You're like, my muscles are on fire. But of course that means that your muscles are healing and it's good for it. So, what in the world does this have to do with Scripture? How in the world are you going to apply this to your daily lives? Well, I think it is appropriate to use the biblical figure who we are focusing on all this week. Tomorrow is Good Friday, and a couple days it's Easter, so why not focus on the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ. Now, let's look at this biblical character, Jesus Christ, and how in the world Icy Hot can be compared to him. Let's look at the first part of Icy Hot, soothing. Absolutely, we know him as being a person who was gentle and calm, who offered love when other people offered hate. He offered inclusion when other people offered exclusion. He was wonderful. When people tried to bait him, the Sadducees and the Pharisees, and make him mad, he was just calm and cool as a cucumber. When he was in the boat with the storm and the disciples were freaking out, again, calm. He just told the waves and the wind, be still. It was amazing. But sometimes we want to put Jesus in that box and say that's all he is, calm and cool. No, no, no. He was a full human being like you and I. He experienced all the emotions, which means sometimes he got a little hot under the collar. So let's look at when that happened with him, and that happens to be in Matthew chapter 21 and in Mark chapter 11. And it is the famous story of when he goes into the temple place, actually outside. It's kind of the outer ring of the temple, and it had become a marketplace, and he just, really went to town, threw over the tables, made a scene, and you might think, wow, that guy just kind of lost it. I disagree. The difference with that is that was righteous anger. And I actually believe that it was intentional. I think he knew what he wanted to do. I think he'd been watching what had been going on. It wasn't crazy that people were selling some things in that area. Remember, people were going to the temple to offer some sacrifices. And they may not have had those things at home. So this was a place for them to do that, to buy those things. But it had gotten out of control. There was tons of corruption. It all just became a big old money scheme and people just wanting to get rich, and it was totally corrupt. It had not become a house of worship. And so Jesus let the steam out. He went from being icy to being hot, and he was righteously angry because he wanted people to focus on the Lord of hosts. He wanted to have people focus on worship. He wanted people to have their hearts ready for worship. And how could they do that when they were in the middle of this corrupt marketplace? He wanted to bring everyone's focus to God. And that's what we should be doing. So when you're thinking about Icy Hot, my message to you isn't that you shouldn't ever be mad. My message is that it's good to have passion. Jesus had passion in that moment, but it was righteous. And maybe you need to take a little time. Just like the Icy Hot needs some time before it gets hot and has healing heat. Is the anger that you have going to help heal something? Is it going to make something better ultimately? And I think Jesus doing that made that situation better. Is your anger going to help the situation ultimately? There's no flying off the handle here. I think that Jesus was intentional, and he was a passionate guy who knew what he needed to do. So that's the message for today. I hope maybe next time you use Icy Hot, because I know a lot of you guys out there are athletes, think about that. Maybe being slower to anger, being cool when you need to, but if you are angry, is it righteous? Ask yourself that. I hope you have a wonderful Easter, and I hope again that you stay safe and stay well. I love you all.